Hello, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Alex, and it's been a while. It's good to be back in EVE Online after a very busy couple of months. And right now, I am trying to get back into the swing of things. And as you can see here, I'm actually trying to fire up my old low sec challenge videos I did a little bit early this year. But today, that's not going to be the focus on this video. This video is actually going to focus on something different. This video is going to focus on EVE Online and one of the aspects that really makes it unique. EVE Online is not a normal RPG. It is not normal in the sense that we think of an RPG. Let's think about it for a second. What is an RPG? An RPG is a role-playing game. You're going to play a role inside an environment, which is a huge adventure. And there's kind of two schools of interpretation on that. One is you play a character in a set story, like you see with your Final Fantasy type of games, or you play a character in an open sandbox world where you role play a certain role inside that world, like we see here with EVE Online or other sandbox style games. Skyrim, I guess you could say, kind of falls in the middle. But what makes EVE Online unique is that, unlike almost every other RPG out there on the market, EVE Online does not fall into the trap of linear progression of power and capability inside an RPG. Think about it. When you play an RPG, any RPG, mostly of them are medieval RPGs, you start out, you have a copper sword, and you go out and you whack a critter at some point in the game, and for whatever reason, this critter drops a steel sword. Who knows why I had it? Doesn't make any sense. But you pick up the steel sword, and you're like, okay, its attack power is plus 10, and it's more durable, and yada yada yada. But on a simple stat-based system, the steel-based sword is better than the copper-based sword that you had before. So now what do? You equip the steel sword. And now you do more attack power. You are now a stronger character in the entire context of the game. There is absolutely no reason why you should use the copper sword anymore. So what do? Well, on almost all the RPGs I played, you sell off, or you trash it, or you recycle it, or something like that. There is no more use for that bronze sword or copper sword. What makes EVE Online different is that, yes, you can progress from one type of ship, like a frigate, to destroyer, like I'm piloting here. And if you look at this new ship, it's a, quote, better ship. Then you go up to cruisers and battleships and up and up and up, and that's then you're going into Tech 2 ships or even Tech 3 ships. Of course, the one thing that really goes up is the price of these ships. They go up by several orders of magnitude in many cases. But does the power go up like you see in a normal RPG system? I'm going to argue no. Yes, if you look at the stats, you have more shield hit points, you have more armor, your guns do more damage, you can track more targets, you have longer range, you have better protection against electronic warfare, particularly jammers, all that good stuff. But in EVE Online, though, having a, quote, bigger ship does not put you into a better position. I'm going to demonstrate here in just a minute. Because what EVE Online does that's unique is that there's also several factors that degrade as you move up to a higher or larger type of ship. One of those is the gun caliber of the weapons that you use. There are actually four types. There are four types: small, medium, large, extra large. In this case, I'm piloting a destroyer, and it's equipped with 8 small guns, rapid firing guns. I'm going up against, as you can see here, a cruiser, and the cruiser has very large guns. The cruiser starts to whack me, and it does a lot of damage. But what I do is I get within close range, and I start to orbit him with my afterburners on, and I get a high transversal velocity, which means that the guns of the cruiser can no longer track my ship. And as you can see now, he's not even hitting me anymore, and I'm hitting him. In this case, a quote weaker ship is now better than a stronger ship, which in this case, the weaker ship is the better ship. He is not able to hit me, and yet I am able to hit him. And having a fundamental understanding of these type of mechanics of transversal, of explosion velocity, of signature radius is key to being able to understand what ship you should use when and in what way in order to be victorious. This is what separates an experienced EVE Online player from a non-experienced one. A non-experienced one, more often than not, and we've all done this. This is not a criticism against new players whatsoever. As I've even seen experienced players that have been playing for years make the same mistake. Is that going to a bigger ship is a better than having the smaller ship. It's not helped by the fact that in many of the PvE cases in EVE Online, that is true. In fact, even if you look at the agent system, it encourages this. Okay, level 1, you fly a frigate, and then level 2, you have to fly a destroyer, maybe a cruiser. Then, of course, level 3, you fly up to a battle cruiser. Level 4, you're flying a battleship. Those are pretty set in stone, if you look at the agent system. And it's also kind of partly because of this, it leads new pilots astray when it reinforces the thinking that, a smaller ship is a weaker ship, you need to throw it away, when that's not the case. A small ship is still very much useful, and is actually not just useful, it is the optimal ship that you need, depending how you need it and how you fly it. You could have battleships and battlecruisers, but if you're going out in an engagement and you need a tackle, then there's no reason to bring a Drake or a Cyclone or a Raven or a Typhoon. You need to be bringing something small, and preferably something that could even be expendable. Bring an Interceptor. But even those are pretty advanced. If you look at the cost of an Interceptor versus a T1 frigate, it is not just an order of magnitude, it is several orders of magnitude more expensive than a Tech 1 frigate. A good pilot will recognize that, I am just a suicide tackle. I don't need to bring the expensive ships. What advantage does an expensive ship or a more powerful ship bring that a smaller ship or cheaper ship can't already give me? And also, a more expensive ship or bigger ship brings problems of their own. One, if you lose it, it's a much significant hit to the wallet. And in EVE Online, your health bar is the size of your wallet. You have infinite clones. You have infinite ships, provided you could buy them, and also depending on the logistics chain of where you're at. But if you run out of money, you're out of money. And that is it for whatever you're doing in EVE Online, whether it's a campaign, a war, a battle, whatever. Whatever you're doing, if you run out of cash, that's it. It's kind of like Monopoly, if you think about it. Once you're bankrupt, you're out of the game. Thankfully, that's not the case in EVE. You can always recover. So, deciding what type of ship you fly, the cost impact of the ship, is it necessary to fly a larger ship? Could even be a detriment. Could you be introducing vulnerabilities you may not be aware of to smaller, cheaper ships that you used to be flying? In many cases, yes. Particularly if you fly alone. In a fleet composition, there used to be a lot of fleets that revolved around a single type of idea. Death ball fleets, slow cats, armor hacks, Tech 3 cruiser balls, things like that. Sniper battleships back in the day. They all rotated around one single concept because this is basically as about as advanced as one could get with the fleets that could be coordinated. Nowadays, a fleet commander has to keep all aspects in mind. On the couple times that I ran fleet ops, I made sure I had a good composition of what the fleet was doing. I had DPS, I made sure I had some logistics vessels, that I had tackle, that I had scout, and that I had a good electronic warfare component. And that combined arms approach meant that I usually held the field almost all the time, unless we got overwhelmed. And if we did get overwhelmed, we can make a good standing fight and also make a retreat. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So in EVE Online, don't follow the normal RPG thinking. Bigger is not necessarily better. You have to look at your hanger as a toolbox. What is the right tool for the job? Just because something has better numbers doesn't mean it's better for you in that particular situation. And that is just a skill that one learns over time. So that's the very interesting, that's the fascinating thing about EVE Online, is that you have to break out of that thinking if you're going to be effective. And it's usually a rough road to get there. It's not easy. It wasn't easy for me. It's not easy for anybody because we're so indoctrinated, we're so ingrained that something with higher stats is better. No, you got to look at all the stats. You got to look at things such as transversal of your turrets. You got to look at signature radius. You've got to look at the mass of your ship and the velocity and all this other stuff. There's so many factors that you have to keep in mind that it's easy to overlook them. And when you overlook them, that is when one can easily fall into the RPG trap that I mentioned. So anyways, I'm going to leave it here, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know I enjoyed making it, and fly safe. Talk to you soon, guys. Take care.